Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, like, join it or something.
Hey everyone, Lucamus Prime here. So, it's time for the next episode of Movie That Deserves a Sequel. Now, in today's video, guys, I'm going to cover this time an example of a horror movie which, in my opinion, does deserve a sequel. And this is actually a horror movie which is also a remake. And this is a remake in one of my favourite horror franchises of all time, in the slasher genre, to be specific when it comes to horror. And this remake is also an example of something that I think is actually a very good remake, in my opinion, which can't really be said for lots of, horror remakes these days. But this film, of course, which in my opinion deserves a sequel, is of course none other than 2009's Friday the 13th. So, now, you guys probably wondering, what do I think of Friday the 13th? Well, as I just said, guys, it's one of my favourite horror franchises of all time, and I even, of course, own 8 of the original movies in this 8-movie Blu-ray collection. Unfortunately, this collection does have some of the bad ones in it, and of course, the worst offender for me is probably Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, or as I would call it, Jason Takes a Boat to Vancouver, because that movie, in my opinion, is one of the worst films I've ever seen in my life. One of those films in which, in my opinion, there's nothing good about it. So, yeah. I even as well have, of course, as well the crossover Freddy vs. Jason, where, of course, the film's antagonist Jason Voorhees, of course, crosses over with Freddy Krueger, which is definitely a very awesome crossover, which I also covered last week as a film that deserves a sequel. But when it comes to what I think of this remake of Friday the 13th, well, compared to some horror remakes I've seen which I don't like, I actually do like this remake. I think it's really good. And in my opinion, the true version of the movie is the extended version, which I, of course, have here on Blu-ray. I think the extended version is a true version to me because it adds more to a story. I feel the theatrical version is a bit too short in comparison, in my opinion, but the extended version to me is the true version of the remake. And I think it's good and definitely, something I actually enjoy watching. And I would love to see more of this to come, really. And unfortunately, of course, we've not had any films in the Friday the 13th franchise, of course, since this movie, sadly, which really sucks. So it's really disappointing that we haven't had anything, because this film was from 2009, and we're in 2023 now, and unfortunately, we had nothing since, sadly. So I really hope that there'll be a sequel to this movie, so we can see this version of Jason Voorhees come back on, like, a new story, of course, where he's hunting, of course, like he would do, being a slasher villain that he is. So I would definitely love to see that happen, absolutely. And also, as well, when it comes to the future of a franchise, though, there was, of course, talks of a sequel to actually be coming out the following year after this movie, but unfortunately, it was pulled from release and was indefinitely delayed. And in that same year, we unfortunately got what is, in my opinion, the worst horror remake I've seen, which of course was the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, which in my opinion was complete trash from start to finish. And unfortunately, as well, in that year, it was announced by producer Brad Fuller that a sequel was not happening. And however, it was revealed the following year that the director of this movie, Damien Shannon, and Mark Swift, have finished a script for a sequel. So it's good as a script, but unfortunately, there's been no film announced, sadly. And however, though, Derek Mears, who of course plays Jason in this remake, however, said that Paramount was working to produce a sequel to a remake, but unfortunately, the sequel was later developed to be a separate installment of a franchise. So, yeah, it is disappointing how it's not been a movie since the 2009 remake, really. It's very disappointing. So, I really would love to see Jason come back in a new movie, because I feel that the recent times of horror movies are definitely missing something due to no Jason Voorhees appearing, sadly. And I really do hope he'll have a chance to appear. I mean, I think Damien Shannon and Mark Swift, who of course wrote this remake, of course, did a very good job writing it. And they, of course, as well, even wrote a screenplay for Freddy vs. Jason as well, which I also loved. And of course, the director of this movie, Marcus Nispel, also directed the 2003 remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I thought was a good remake too. So, yeah, I'd love to see maybe Marcus Nispel also come back to direct a sequel as well, and of course Damien Shannon and Mark Swift to write it as well. So yeah, I can only hope they can return. So in the meantime, guys, what I'll do is I'll keep, of course, rewatching this remake with hope they'll do a sequel. I'll even as well watch, of course, the old films I do also love in this collection I have. My personal favourite, of course, being Jason Lives. That's my favourite Friday the 13th movie of all time. One of my favourite horror sequels of all time as well. I'll, of course, also keep watching the crossover Freddy vs. Jason, with hope they'll do, of course, a sequel to this as well in the future. And I also, as well, have the Friday the 13th video game on PS4 as well, so I'll be playing that one day as well. And in addition as well, if you guys want to play as Jason Voorhees in like a fighting style game, he's, of course, a DLC character in Mortal Kombat X, of course, so... And I've played him a lot on that game. He's a lot of fun to play as, so I can also play that game with hope that he'll get a sequel in the future to his remake as well. So yeah. So long story short, guys, in my opinion, Friday the 13th, the 2009 remake is an example of a film that does deserve a sequel for sure. So yeah. So guys, this is me covering the next episode of Movie of the sequel, where I was talking about why, in my opinion, Friday the 13th, 2009 remake is an example of a film that deserves a sequel. So you know the drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to let us know in the comments what you guys think of the Friday the 13th remake. Do you think it's a sequel? Leave a comments below what you think. Also, be sure to join the team in Prime by pressing subscribe for videos coming in the future. If you would like to be a member, you can restore using a piece of or you can go to the description, and I'll see you all later.